The kids are all right. Well, not according to them, and they're making sure we know about it. For the past month, children across the world have been cutting class to get us to cut down on pollution. It's not often that I encourage young people to miss school. However, with temperatures on the rise and freak weather a regular occurrence, it's time to face up to the severity of the situation we're in. Someone definitely needs to give these adults a good talking to. Step up 16-year-old Swedish activist Greta Thunberg, the leader of the protests who made headlines when she read the global elite the Riot Act at this year's World Economic Forum in Davos. As she said, we must act now. Some more than others, and I agree with her. Those who've profited the most from exploitation of the earth should be held the most accountable. It's time for the privileged few to start paying off the debt of the many owed to Mother Nature. And if the Davos crowd, myself excluded, darling, haven't realised this by now, then maybe they're the ones that should be back in school. Because when it comes to the planet, the kids are so right.
I mean, the issue is, it seems to me simpler than that. It's, do you think kids should come out of school to protest?
Yes.
Or should they be at school, which is more value to them?
One day to protest, to make this important point, which is absolutely about their future. 100% they should come out of school to protest.
Yeah, I think I probably agree with you, but I don't think it's clear-cut. Oxfam actually put out a statement which I think reflected my position better. It said, we abhor kids being out of school, but climate change means that one day many may not even have a school to attend.
There you go.
Anyone whose very existence is under threat should at least have the right to speak up about it. To our children, climate change is not an abstract idea, but a frightening, threatening reality. And I suspect that's fair. And I do think you'd hate the idea, though, that kids came out of school every week to protest, wouldn't you?
Well, of course.
So what you're saying is there are odd occasions when it's worthwhile.
Absolutely valid.
Which I think I'd probably go along with. But I don't think it's... If this was every Friday...
Oh, no way. No.
Can I just ask the obvious question? Because I think it's wonderful that they're engaged in climate change and I fully support their words. Why not just do it on a Saturday?
Exactly. I think it's much more impactful than them all taking the day off school. I think the politicians are much more likely...
We wouldn't be sitting around talking about it.
No, we wouldn't. No,
you kind of would if there was a mass protest in countries all over the world. You know, I think, like Michelle, I think it's great too that they're getting involved. But don't ask me to believe that all of them on that march were doing it for that reason. Some of them weren't wagging off school. I think, and I heard one of the strikers. I heard one organiser say, "This is one day, but it'll change the world." Bless them. I don't want to pay on what they've done. It's not going to change the world. It will make no difference whatsoever.
I think that it's reached a pitch here in this country because the younger generation has seen the political class completely consumed and absorbed
with Brexit
in the last 1,000 days on a subject that is also going to probably impact on their futures, and they're absolutely hopping that the older generation, the over 50s, over 60s, over 70s, have basically stolen their futures, and they very much resist the accusation that they're playing truant because they want to do it in school hours. So let's hear from one of them.
I don't think it will impact on my education because I'm willing to do the catch-up work. I'm not striking from school today because I want to miss a day of school. I'm striking because I have no other option, and I do still value my education. I don't see the point in having an education if what they're teaching me is not sufficient, if what they're teaching me is not accurately portraying the severity of the crisis. Our future needs imminent environmental reform in order to protect it. I don't understand why the government don't recognise that.
And the takeaway from all this student protest is that if we need to cut greenhouse gas emissions by 45% if we're not going to see the global temperature rise by 1.5% with untold consequences for everybody.
Yeah, and
but Carole is also right in that some of those kids will go out because it's fun. But actually, that's educative in its process. Because I suspect they'll understand about climate change in a way they didn't.
Let me tell you, one of my neighbours actually said to her 15-year-old girl, "OK, I get your engagement. I think it's really good. So you go on strike." But she said, "I'll tell you what we'll do this year. As you're so concerned about, we won't go on a holiday because you have to take a plane to go to Spain or wherever, and that affects the carbon footprint." And she went, "What do you mean?" And she didn't know what that meant.
She's likely to learn more when she gets on the protest.
Trust me, she didn't go on the protest because she thought about that and didn't go on the protest.
Well, I can't talk about this one case. Before I bring Michelle in, I have to say, this stuff works. You know, if you look back in, I think it was 1975, when all of the women in Iceland went on strike for the day, and they all took the day off work to protest inequality for women. It worked. If
that
you
would
look
have
at
a financial repercussion to the company. That would have a financial. The kids
but our children missing school will also have some sort of repercussion on society. I think it will.
Look,
actually, it's a way of them showing how serious they are.
I don't. Oh, sorry.
I thought it was wonderful what that student said, and I feel very passionately about climate change as well. So it's great that they're active and involved and conscious.
So you're not
my point still stands.
No, the weekend with your boyfriend.
My point still
in the
stands.
jet.
My point still stands. She said she had no other option, but she does.
What's her other option?
They're called Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, exactly.
They're called school
Not
holidays.
to have this kind of impact.
But then the challenge is, though, where do you draw the line? Because today we're coming out of school to talk about climate change, which everyone agrees is a significant issue. Tomorrow we're going to come out...
The US doesn't. They haven't signed up to the Paris Accord.
So then tomorrow there's another social issue or environmental issue which is equally as important. So where do you draw the line?
There are lots of issues, but none of them have had this sort of impact from young people, where they have all got together and have been so organised to actually protest globally simultaneously.
Yes,
exactly.
Because we wouldn't be talking about it on Saturday.
Yeah, we
would. So are you telling me the reason we're talking about it now is not because they've come together and organised, but we're only talking about it because they took a day off school?
I'm saying that we would not be talking about it as much. The fact that they took a day off school made this thing even more impactful. I wouldn't have read that intro if they hadn't taken the day off school. Not in the same way.
When was the last time you can remember a pupil rebellion like this?
Yeah.
Global
pupil rebellion.
As long as it has, the third time it has no impact.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we know that.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the referendum?
No, I think we'll avoid the referendum.
Don't get me wrong. You know, when I was at school, you'd have to have chained me to the chair sometimes to keep me in there. I was always finding ways and reasons not to go. But I just think that actually we have so many conversations where you can't take your kids on holiday and.
Yeah, this is the most important topic, period. And can I bring in a grab from Owen Walsh, and here's what he had to say.
The children are serious about this. This is a crisis. They see it as a crisis. It's just up to the adults of the world to see it as the crisis that they see it as. This is children finding their voice. This is children engaging with global issues. This is about young people voicing their opinions and getting interested in politics also.
And Owen is a primary school teacher and also an eco-club leader. And he's the kind of person you want to teach.
But he's right about kids finding their voice. That's why I don't want to criticise it too much, because yes, they should have a voice at that age. They should be interested in politics. But
should they have a vote at 16?
No.
Why?
Because they haven't read enough, they haven't done enough, they haven't experienced enough.
What they can,
but they've read enough at 18?
Well, not necessarily. I don't necessarily agree with that either. But I just don't think it's the naivety of the young to imagine that a one-day protest is going to change anything. It's not.
Like I said, it worked for the women of Iceland.
It will over time, and what you realise is, I mean, I still meet people of my age who don't believe in climate change. They don't think it's right.
Yeah,
you see now, I think that'll be much less so in 20 years' time because of things like this. Well, actually, I think it becomes the mainstream. Just like if you went back 30 years, 40 years, you know, people claiming to be, people saying I'm gay, were still going through a very hard time in life. It's not true today. Why? Because generations change.
Yeah. And also, don't forget, it isn't just one day. There have been two, and they have more planned. They're not letting us off the hook, and I'm proud of them myself.